Negative self-talk is something that I struggled with for, I'm 31 going on 32, so for about like 27 or 28 years uh, of my time so far. And what I've learned in doing a lot to truly overcome it, I feel like there's a lot of people who say something like doing XYZ kind of internal work doesn't really work for them, is that it takes consistency. It's almost like otherizing your internal monologue, your internal self-talk. Um, and it took a long time. And it took a lot of different kinds of healing modalities. But what I've learned, if I can impart anything, if it's something that you struggle with, um, I know how much that can suck to have to be your own worst enemy kind of thing. But what helped me was, again, kind of otherizing it, like making it an other, making it someone as if it's somebody else. Part of what I did learn was that it can originate from modeling our parents or siblings' behavior, someone who was a powerful presence in our lives, especially at an impressionable age. This kind of like monkey see, monkey do kind of thing, even if they didn't reprimand us, if we saw power in that in a moment, especially a moment of vulnerability, we can then kind of internalize that and unknowingly make it our own. I talk a lot about pattern disruption techniques, PDTs, and what it's disrupting is that negative self-talk and the behavior that it tends to manifest in our lives, whether it's pushing people away, sabotaging ourselves in whatever way, which is really protecting ourselves from any kind of outcome that we might kind of be afraid of. Disrupting the pattern of self-talk is the goal, especially in healing. I talk a lot about breathing techniques, noticing just very simple things that we can start doing whenever we see these kind of patterns start to play out. I hope people kind of like give themselves this break to do this kind of work, because it is work, for themselves, for the relationships that they have in their lives, right? Negative self-talk is a real bitch, and it feels like the sooner we start addressing that part within ourselves, the sooner we can have an on average better relationship with the world around us, and especially with ourselves. So if you're interested, check out a video I've done on pattern disruption techniques. I'll do a little bit right now. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have certain tools to take with you moving forward. So with that, the first PDT, or pattern disruption technique, for interrupting and kind of solving for negative self-talk is noticing. Once we notice that we're kind of getting into the old loop of negative self-talk with ourselves, the first thing that helped me was noticing that I was doing it at all. It can be really light. It doesn't have to be like, oh, there it is, there's that negative self-talk. I can just be like, oh, there it is. I'm talking bad about myself. I'm being hard on myself. where I could be a little gentler. We notice we made the mistake, that's as far as it needs to go. If it's really, that's the first one. If it's really kind of feeling high pressure, that's when I like bring in the breathing. So if noticing isn't like really enough in the moment, I'll usually do a 3 count or 4 count breath on the inhale and on the exhale, while noticing that there's just kind of like a negative voice in my head. And when I do that, it starts to kind of like, I start to distance myself mentally from it, from identifying as being the one who instilled that negative voice in me. And then over a long enough period of time, I may even find the originator of, whomever like incepted that voice into me, right? And I talked about otherizing it, which is to say making it an other, kind of giving it a form or a figure, seeing that it's a negative side of me. I can maybe picture myself in like all black clothes or something, or with a black beanie or something. And you can take it as far as you need to take it in terms of establishing boundaries with that voice, with that internal negative monologue. There have been times when I really sat down with it and started asking it questions like, why do you feel this way? Why do you think you need to be so hard on me? There have been times when it helped me to also set boundaries with the people around me. When I like got really real with myself and said, right now, I just don't need it. I just don't need whatever you're bringing to me right now. There were other times where I was like, all right, you want to bring this to me? Then rent's due. If you want to keep talking in my head, taking up space, you gotta bring me something good. If you don't, you're out. Talking to yourself in that way, I mean, it's something that really helped me out, is to kind of like have the mindset of like, rent's due if you want to take up space in my head. And honestly, you can like take it as far as you need to. I've taken it pretty far in terms of like when I found out, like when I found really persistent negative self, talk or images or whatever. But you do what you need to do for yourself. And hopefully it can get to that point of just like really sitting down, talking with, and getting to know this part of you. Because in the end, it may just be a part of you that went unloved in a very vulnerable and critical time. And in that way, you're almost kind of transcending time and talking with your inner self, your child self, and helping them heal so that they don't have to keep weighing you down or pestering you. So you can have a really decent and awesome relationship with yourself. I've done that, and it's helped me a lot. It's helped me go from a terrible rage monster to someone who more often than not enjoys my time on Earth, which to anyone who knows me knows that's really saying something. I've got the scars to prove it. I hope that helps. There's light. So, yeah. Peace.